back, guys, to another episode of eLEXYfy, the place for fashion podcast. I'm your host, Lexi Silverstein. On this week's episode, we have a absolutely amazing guest. Her name is Lily. She's a sustainable designer who makes clothing. And she's just overall super, super cool. She loves to travel the world, and we're gonna get talking with Lily today. So how are you?
I'm doing well. I feel a little nervous now. That was so professional, but I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Girl, it's the same intro I do on every podcast. So at this
got
point,
it down.
It's ingrained in my mind. My boss always makes fun of me because she's like, I was like, I want to have you on my podcast. And she was like, on this week's episode of eLEXYfy, the place for fashion podcast. And I was like, oh, so everyone knows that.
She's a fan.
So, yeah, she's a fan. I was like, thanks, girl. At least you're here.
I love it.
Yeah. So for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, perfect. So I am Lily. My full name is Elizabeth. I'm going to start with that because it trips people up a lot because my social media handle is EBC and people are always like, what is EBC? But that's not my full name. It's Elizabeth Bay Chapman. But I go by Lily and I'm a sustainable fashion content creator. So that is like a new title for me. I've only been doing this for a little over a year, but I've only had like more than 16,000 followers since September. So it still feels very new. And I basically create thrift flips and sewing content and styling content on my TikTok. I post fashion inspo on my Instagram, and I just recently started a YouTube channel.
Oh my God, amazing. Congrats on the YouTube. And that's so crazy that you started like just under maybe a year ago and that you're already at the point where you're at. Like, that's so freaking phenomenal.
It's exciting.
Yeah, so congratulations. So how did you first, like really get into just fashion in general?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think I was like born into it. So I am the fourth child in my family, the youngest and the only girl, born to a mom that loves fashion and had three boys before she had a daughter. So like fashion was a part of my life from like my very first memories. I had a box under my bed as a kid, big box full of bows, and every morning like we would pick out my bow to go with my outfit. Like this was until like 6th grade. This was like a long time we did this. And so it's been a part of my life forever. I won like best dressed in 4th grade and I took that really seriously. And yeah, I've just always loved how like a good outfit can make you feel. Like I think it can fully shape the way that you walk into a room and the way that you interact with people. So I've loved fashion forever. And my mom even had like a little fashion business where she helped women dress, which was super cute. We were in the Midwest at the time, so it didn't like take off as well as it could have because it's the Midwest, but she totally got me started in all of it.
That is seriously so amazing. I say the same thing about my mom. It's like people always see my mom and she's like, oh my God, fashion queen. I was like, guys, you think that I came up with this stuff? Like, you think I had the fashion gene? It was Miss Maxie, girl, and they kept me.
Exactly. I stole everything I know. I mean, she had like a full office in our house when I was a kid, and I would just go in there and read her books. I remember my favorite one was Cosmo's like 1,000 do's and don'ts of fashion.
Oh my God, yes.
I was obsessed. I would like pour through that thing. That was my Bible.
I literally know exactly what you're talking about. And there's this girl on TikTok now. I love her style. And she's doing like, she's taking the do's and the don'ts, and then she's wearing like all of the don'ts and making them like good, like amazing. And I was like, I love that because there are no rules in fashion. And just because like, maybe it's something's not like as liked upon multiple people or like many people, but like it can still be worn and turn into something amazing. So I love that she was doing that on TikTok. It was,
if you believe you can pull it off, you're 100% going to pull it off. It's literally just thinking that you will.
It was literally such a good idea. And I love what you said about how like an outfit can literally change the way you feel, because I feel like so many people like underestimate the impact that like fashion has on us. I mean, we literally wear clothes every single day.
Every day. Everyone gets dressed. It's wild. Like it's something that is actually so connective and allows you to be like very expressive in a way I think a lot of people hold back from. Because like for me, I don't want to talk about my feelings. Like I don't want to like sit down with a bunch of new people and be like, oh, like, here's what's going on in my life. That
Mhm.
makes me super uncomfortable. But what I do want is for them to like get an idea of who I am. So if I can do that in a way that's nonverbal and like allows me to introduce myself without having to quote unquote like get vulnerable in any capacity, that's ideal for me. Like, here's a little bit about me that I don't even have to tell you just by what I'm wearing.
Literally, oh God, I freaking love that. No, it's like literally so fun. Like I love that like fashion is a psychology. Like literally, if you don't feel like good on a certain day, you can wear a certain color
Go
and
all
literally like your entire mood can change. So it's
100.
like I just love like when I have a bad outfit on, I'm like, I'm not feeling myself right now. Like I'm upset. But when I have a good outfit on, I'm like, today's gonna be a phenomenal day.
It's so true. It totally shapes your day. And sometimes, like, if I'm going into an intimidating situation, like, I can take away the anxiety that the situation might bring me by, like, being really well prepared with my outfit. And, like,
Mhm.
just knowing that I've put that level of work into what I'm going to be wearing makes you so much more confident, or makes me so much more confident when I am entering the space. Cause I'm like, well, I know I look good. Like, I know my outfit is good and appropriate. So anything else that comes my way, not a big deal.
Literally, I feel like, oh my God, I went to this thing last night and I was like, I have no idea what to expect. Like, I don't really know what I'm getting into. And I was like, but I like my outfit. And you know what? I didn't really know many of the people that I was at this thing I was at yesterday. And I was like, but people kept coming up to me and complimenting my outfit. And it was such a great like conversation starter.
The
And I was like,
best feeling.
oh my God, thank you. Like, you look amazing too. What's your name? How are you? Like, how did you get here? And I was like, it was so fun. Like, it was such an easy way of meeting new people as like by starting off with that kind of like icebreaker of like your outfit's fucking phenomenal.
It's so true. It's such a game changer to connect with someone over it, because it's like when someone recognizes the thought that you've put into a look. And if, oh my goodness, my favorite is when they like call out a detail that I did really intentionally. They're like, oh, I love how you mix whatever, this fabric with this or whatever. That's
Mhm.
like, I have made some of my deepest, longest lasting friendships from that first connection where it's like, you see things the same way I do. You're noticing, you notice what I put out there. Like, because for me,
Mhm.
my fashion is my art. So it's like being recognized. It's like, you get it, you get me. And then we end up being great friends. One of my very best friends who I'm going to see in like a week, he lives in London. And we have a great time when we're together. Like, I really love him. He's one of my favorite people. But when we're not together, like the only thing we really talk about is like our outfits and sending each other like outfit pictures and like, oh, I just bought all this stuff. Like, what do you think of this? Or how would you style this? And it's like such a fun thing to be connected over. Cause then when we are together, it's like I have his wardrobe memorized. I can like match my outfit to his. It's just such a blast.
I love that. That's so funny. I love friendships like that where it's like, I haven't seen you wear that before. Is that new? And they're like, yeah, it is. And I'm like, yeah, I
I
have
thought
it
so.
memorized. I'm like, I know
It's a good
everything today.
connection.
It's literally like I'm like I studied your closet because I just love clothes. Well, anyways, I love the conversation right now. I'm like so how did you first get into like upcycling clothes?
That's a good question. So I'm like very short, or just, I mean, I don't know, average height. I don't know what the average height is. I'm 5'3", and it just felt like a lot of the clothes that I was buying, thrifting, were made for like a very different body. And so nothing ever fit me quite right. And I'd be like, this would be so cute if only it was 2 inches shorter, 2 inches tighter, 2 inches lower. Like if it was made to fit my body, it would be
Right.
so perfect. Because I always say, like, when people ask, like, how do you thrift? I thrift with like two things in mind, like really good fabrics, like good texture, and
Mhm.
really good prints, like something unique, interesting, like anything that isn't just 100% cotton, it's going to catch my attention because I'm gonna be like,
Mhm.
oh, what are you? And so I would buy all these pretty pieces that had like amazing fabrics, amazing textures, amazing patterns, but they would never fit me quite right. And I was like, fuck it, like I'm done. Like I just want my clothes to fit me. So
Mhm.
I asked for a machine for my birthday because I was so broke at the time. I was so broke I couldn't even get one. And now I'm like, I probably could have thrifted one, but I'm glad I got what I got. I
No,
didn't have to
yeah.
like learning an old machine. And so yeah, I just asked for it for my birthday and started like seeing the videos on TikTok of
Mhm.
girls like making things into crop tops. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to be
Like,
that because I want
I can do that.
exactly. And not only like I can do that, but like I can do that and like in a way that is a little more unique. Like I would see people create really cool things and I'd be like, ooh, if I had done that, I would have done this. And then I was
Mhm.
like, well, I should just be doing this.
I literally feel like it's such a flex to be like, someone compliments something and you're like, thanks, I made it.
That's literally why I got into sewing. Honestly, if we're gonna keep it real, I just wanted to be able to be like, "Thanks, I made it." That's my favorite line. I love it. I have never claimed to be the most humble person. I love to be like, "I made it. Where'd you get that? I made it." It's so fun.
Me, but designed by me.
Like
No,
Marc Jacobs on
literally.
his tags. Marc Jacobs by Marc Jacobs in association with Marc Jacobs. That's gonna be me on my tags.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
I love that. That's so creative. I freaking love that. No, literally, I feel like it's like my two favorite things to say is like, oh yeah, thanks it's thrifted, and then oh yeah, thanks I made it.
I don't know why I get a
Like
rush every time.
it gives me so much power. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. It's fine.
I do think like there is something to be said for that though, because like while it might be like yeah, it just makes you feel good. Like there's a reason that it makes you feel good. And it's because one, it's unique. And like being unique is just something everyone wants to be unique. We all want to stand out. We all want to have our own identity. And the reason people love to say stuff like thanks I made it or thanks it's thrifted is because it's like it's so unique to you. There's not 4,000 other girls wearing this piece right now.
Mhm.
There's not 8,000 copies of this at the bottom of a landfill. Like I made it out of something unique. I am the only one that has this right now. Or if it's thrifted, I'm one of a few people that has this. And like that is a sense of pride for a reason. We like to be unique. We like to stand out. So as fun as it is to be like, oh yes, it's also like very true and very real. It's nice to be able to find identity in your clothing and have it be that unique to you. It's a good feeling for a reason.
That was beautiful. I could not have
I'm done. I'm
said it
done.
myself. I loved that. That was literally, I moved. I moved.
Don't tell people on TikTok I have thoughts though. That's not on my brand.
I literally freaking love that. Well, so how did you first, I guess, like get into more of the sustainability aspect now that we're talking about 4,000 people or 4,000 things at the bottom of a landfill? Did you get into it because you were just like, I upcycle things and oh, that's sustainability? Or were you more like, I'm into sustainability and then, oh, let me upcycle because of this?
Yeah, so it was definitely oh man, I fuck this up every time. The former, is that the first one? Former comes first. It was definitely the former,
Okay.
not the latter. So I just grew up thrifting.
Mhm.
Um, that was just like, I don't know. My parents like didn't talk a lot about money. I don't know if that was why, but we just always thrifted our clothes. I literally didn't think about it. I
Mhm.
always thought it was super fun. My mom and I would go on like Saturday mornings, and she was super into fashion. So I would imagine that for her, it was a way to get kind of the brands that she wanted without having to pay full price. And so I always liked thrifting just because like when I wanted to wear Hollister and Abercrombie in like
Mhm.
seventh grade, I could find that stuff for like $4.
Right.
So it was always just kind of a matter of very little thought. Like it was just what I did. And then as I got older, obviously like moved out and was just like a broke 20 something and it just stuck. I like never could imagine paying full price for clothes, but it was still
Mhm.
very much just because like I just wanted to save money. It wasn't like I'm going to do this for the planet thing. It was just my matter of circumstance at the time and what I could afford. And I always loved clothes, always wanted more clothes. And this was how I could afford to do that. And living in Seattle, the thrift stores were insane. So I was finding like really great stuff and started
Yeah.
making that was like the first of my fashion content ever was just like a thrift haul in Seattle because
Mhm.
literally I was just so excited. I was like, can't believe I found this stuff. I got like a Reformation shirt and I was like, oh shit.
Yes.
So yeah, so it started with very little like awareness even of sustainability. And then as I started posting about fashion and thrifting, I started realizing like, oh, I'm getting these videos from thrifters and they're using the hashtag sustainable fashion. Like, that's interesting. Let me learn a little bit about that. And then it was just like, oh, oh my God. Like, oh my God, that's terrifying. And it just all kind of started to click for me.
Mhm.
And I just went down like all of these rabbit holes and followed all of these sustainable creators. And it was just very easy for me to recognize immediately, like, well, thank God I already am
Mhm.
into thrifting because this is horrific. Like, this is a huge problem. And it started putting kind of these pieces together in my brain because I'm a very, very avid traveler. I've traveled a lot. And I had just gone to Bali in like 2019.
Mhm.
And it was so beautiful. I had like such an amazing trip. I was with two of my best friends. And while we were there, we went to this beach and we got into the ocean. And I mean, it was the most beautiful ocean in the world. But I like dive in and I'm like swimming and I'm just like pushing clear plastic bags out of the
Oh my
way.
God.
And I was like, this is really bad. Like, that's not what I would have envisioned. And I know even at that point, before I had even gone down the rabbit hole, I knew like, well, this isn't their trash. Like, this is coming from tourists and from other countries. Like, the ocean is shared. Like, this isn't, Bali isn't dirty. Like, the planet is dirty.
Right.
And so that always stuck in my brain. And then learning about everything with fast fashion, from the wages to how people are treated, to the disposal of plastic, to the disposal of the chemicals they're using to dye fabrics, it just kind of all clicked for me. And I was like, okay, like, I am a naturally outspoken person. I happen to naturally really identify with this issue. I'm gonna tell people what I think.
I freaking I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that too. Like you were saying, like with the circumstances, like thrifting was like the most affordable and like great best way of like finding the brands that you wanted at like a cheap price, because I feel like so many people are like, oh well, to be sustainable you have to like be rich, and I'm like, but
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
but I'm a broke college student
Yeah.
and I'm sustainable. And I can promise you it's only through thrifting. It's like I thrift and then I sleep and then I breathe.
Yep, yep, and that's it. I think they're like really missing the point with that, because I don't think it takes into account the fact that ever buying anything that's created new, even if it's created 100% sustainably, that's still less sustainable than
Mhm.
buying something that has already been
Already
made. So
been
like,
out there.
if someone's saying it's too expensive to be sustainable, it's like, this is the point. This is that, like, it's way over their head. I forgot this was a podcast. I probably shouldn't use like physical gestures, but it's flying right over their head. They're missing the point entirely, because like, no, thrifting is the most sustainable, the best, most sustainable option. Even if you could buy all new $170 sustainable leggings, which I
Mhm.
just kind of think is a joke. Even if you could, it's still not the most sustainable option.
Yeah, I think so many people don't realize how much shit is already out there in the world. Like we have so much stuff already made. Why are we making more? What we don't need
Really
to.
ever.
We don't need to. I'm like, there's how many people on the planet will take that and then times it by like a million for the shit
We
that's
could have
already out there.
stopped making shit in like 1950. We
Yeah.
had already reached, like, we had already produced enough to be good for like the rest of humanity. And we just kept going. And not only did we keep going, but we kept going exponentially,
Yeah,
and more and more, while having less and less of a need. So it's just like,
literally.
we never need new stuff again. Sometimes I
No.
just like grab someone and shake them and be like, we don't need new things. Literally.
Literally. I'm like, just go thrifting. It's already out there. And that's what I say with like, because I have like fur products and stuff. And I'm like, I don't like and I don't support shopping like fur because they haven't made a like fully sustainable way. But if it's secondhand, it's something that's already out there. So that's if you're gonna buy fur or something like that, that is the most sustainable way of doing that because it's already out there.
I'm
Like
so glad you brought this up. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I did like a video trying on like one of my grandma's fur coats, and it's like a beautiful coat, like so
Mhm.
gorgeous. And she like gave it to me and I was like, amazing. Yes, love it, going to wear it. And I got a lot of comments that were like, hey, like, what do you think about the effect of like wearing a coat like that? And I was like, I think it's better that I wear it because it's already been created, it's already been made, the animals are already dead. I think it's very silly to put it into a closet so it can get zero use
Mhm.
simply because I wouldn't support the creation of it today. That doesn't make sense to me. It's already been made. Why let it serve no purpose?
Literally, that's like when you're like, if you're trying to make the switch from like like plastic bottle shampoo and conditioners to like recyclable ones, like or sustainable ones or whatever, like there's no point in throwing if you already have like 10 plastic bottle shampoo and conditioners, there's no point in throwing it out
Are
first.
you getting rid of them?
like
Do you
like
understand what this means?
like at least use it first, and then once it's empty then make the switch. Like that's
I
like
bought all new glass bottles. Like, you missed the point entirely again.
I'm like, that's like what I think of like fur. I'm like, it's already, if it's already out there, like don't make it now. Like if it's already out there, like there's no point in not like using it at this point because it is already made. And like you said, the animals are already dead. And if it's secondhand or if it's passed down, like that is more sustainable than just like throwing it out.
So much more. And this is kind of how I feel also about like, so like this shirt, no, not my babe.
Oh, sorry.
So this shirt that I'm wearing is like Nasty Gal or something, like one of those brands where I would like never ever buy new from. But it's like I found it at a thrift store. So it's like you're not supporting them by buying the product. Just like when I buy any brand that is like, I think every brand is fast fashion. Obviously there's levels, but if you're creating new clothes, you're pretty much fast fashion, no matter how often you do it or how ethically you claim you are. Um, anyway, when I buy these pieces at like a thrift store, I have gotten comments that are like, why are you wearing like Shein? You're going to encourage people to buy it. And I'm like, no, I found something cute that fit that I knew I would wear in multiple ways. And I could either let it go to a landfill or get shipped to an African country where it can infiltrate their markets. So they have to deal with our bullshit, which is what we do, which blows my mind, by the way. Like the foreign markets of American clothing is just so sad to me. But anyway, I could do that, or I could just wear it. Like, it just feels so logical to me. It blows my mind. Some people don't get it.
No, there was something I literally remember having this conversation with my friends because there was something that I didn't realize was Shein at a thrift store, and I was like, I was going through all my things with my friends because we all went thrifting, and I had the biggest cart. My friends hate going thrifting with me because I always find everything, and
Of course.
they're like, where was that when I was looking in the same aisle 3 seconds before you? And I was like, I don't know, guys. What can I
have to be quicker than that.
I was like, I don't know. I'm just like the expert, whatever. So I was like going through all the things and I was getting their opinion. And I was like, should I get this? Should I not get this? Whatever, whatever. And one of my friends was like, not the Shein tag. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. And I was like, that in no way supports Shein though, right? Because like, as long as the money is going to like Goodwill or this random thrift store that I'm at, then I like, as long as it in no way is supporting Shein and it's all only supporting the fact that I bought it secondhand and thrifted it and didn't let it go to the landfill, then like that's all I care about.
Yes. And I think it's kind of defeatist to be like, because I've seen it on TikTok, I've seen it on Twitter, like, oh, it's so sad how much Shein is at the thrift stores. But I'm like, yes, but also at least they're donating it.
Yeah,
Like,
at least it's not
you don't
getting
want to
thrown
discourage
out.
people that are spending hundreds of dollars on these hauls. Don't discourage them from donating the things that don't fit, because then it's just like straight to the trash to sit there and not disintegrate for millions of years because it's made out of fucking plastic. Like,
Yeah,
that's not a solution either.
no, literally. I feel like there's a lot of like just judgment in overall like the fashion field and industry, but especially like the sustainability. And I think it goes both ways. Like I think there's a lot of judgment when it comes to being like, oh well, you're not being sustainable, or people being like, you're a sustainable advocate and then you're doing this. And I'm like, I feel like there's a lot of like back and forth, and I'm like, at least like we're making the effort,
I
like
have some issues with that for sure. I totally agree. Like, I think people want something so badly that in their quest for perfection, they're actually discouraging people from pursuing like doing the right task, because they'll see someone like me, for example. I am a sustainable fashion content creator, but if they see me do one thing they're not sure about, they're so quick to be like, what about this? What about that? Or, oh, you have a plastic bag. Like, that was a comment I got the other day. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, this could have been a tote bag. I have tote bags. Guess what? I'm not a perfect human. I live my life the same way a lot of people live their lives, which is literally just getting through the day, never knowing what's going to happen. Like, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be at all times. So, like, if you are going to call people out so quickly for imperfections, they're going to want to quit trying. If you're going to say, oh, well, you thrifted 30% of your closet, but you also did a Shein haul on your page. Like, no, build them up for doing something right. Don't tear them down for being a human. Like, everyone has done stuff in every arena, way outside of fashion, that's like, you're trying to do the right thing, but you can't do it 100%. That's just fucking being a human. So like,
literally.
if you want people to be more sustainable, if you want to see more thrifting, you want to see less plastic, build people up when they do something right. Don't tear them down so they don't feel like trying to do it right next time because they know they can't do it perfectly. That really irks me, because like, you can't hate people into doing the right thing. You can't bully them into being happy and optimistic and wanting to do the right thing, wanting a clean planet. You'll never get that from being like mean.
No, literally. I always say that I'm literally a sustainable fashion content creator, and I'm not 100% sustainable 100% of the time. And that's 100% okay, because
Yep.
like you just said, I am a human being and
Mhm.
I am just as clumsy and all over the place as any other human being is. And so I'm not always going to make the right decisions, but I'm going to try my best. And
Yes, exactly. And that's all you can do.
literally. And I'm so it's like I love, because sometimes I'll have like people on my podcast that aren't necessarily like sustainable content creators. They're more just like fashion content creators. And hold on, there's ambulance. Is that on my side? It definitely is because I live in downtown LA.
Yeah, it's not me.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. It's just really loud and I was like, okay. Anyways, but I like having them on because I do like hearing about like their process on social media and like how it's affected them and stuff. But then I also do like to ask them, and I'm like, I know that you don't always talk about sustainability on your like platform, but is that something that you think about? And I love hearing the ones that tend to promote like fast fashion brands talk about like the fact that they also like to thrift a lot of the time. And I'm like, see, like that's great because you are taking that step to, instead of shopping at Shein that one time, you are taking the step to then thrift instead. And I'm
Yeah.
like, if everyone just like took those little steps, we could like our planet could be such like a healthier planet. And
Mhm.
so it's like it's okay that like obviously I would prefer if you guys weren't promoting the fast fashion brands,
Right.
but the fact that you're also talking about thrifting on your platform is great because then you're encouraging other people to go thrifting. And yes, while it's a little like, yes, while you're doing a little bit of both, it's like I like to see the steps like
Yeah.
taken to
Yeah, and it's
sustainable.
not like it's not the kind of thing that has to be super black and white. It really doesn't. And that's like hard for me to say because I really am a very black and white thinker. But when it comes to like really everything, like there is going to be this gray area. So when you have these creators, I do have thumbs, by the way, they're just tucked in. When you have these creators like that are posting Shein hauls and thrift hauls, it's like not every action has to have its equal opposite reaction. And if we can just encourage and like leave a comment, leave a like on the video that's a thrift haul and be like, I love seeing this content from you, rather than trying to shame them into like doing a better job on the video that's a Shein haul. Like you're just never going to get anywhere. You're not going to win people over by being salty. Like it's
Yes.
like that. What's the phrase? You win more flies with honey than vinegar. Like just be sweet if you want people to do the right thing, because people love to feel encouraged and they hate to feel ashamed. And
Yes.
the truth is also like shit, if you want to go even higher tier, the girls that are doing these Shein hauls, they're not the problem. They're a consumer. The problem is the brand. The problem is Shein. The problem is the company. The problem is the 1% that's profiting off of all the people getting fucked over. It's
Mhm.
not this 18-year-old girl that likes free cute clothes. Like
Mhm.
she is a victim of circumstance. You need to direct your angry energy to the right people, direct it to the top. Look where the look where the issue actually starts. Like it's not this girl. It's not
No,
her. It's Rusty.
100%. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is like it's also it's physically impossible for a brand, let alone a human, to become fully sustainable overnight. And so while yes, maybe because I didn't used to be a sustainable fashion content creator. I used to just be a fashion content creator. And then I educated myself and I was like, oh, let's go more on the
And I
sustainable side. And so I did that. So then I switched, like I changed my platform a little bit and my niche into sustainable fashion. And so if it's that like it's people that maybe are like starting to do more thrifting and starting to do, and maybe eventually they'll get to the point where they're like, actually, this is something I genuinely really care about. And I do want to only promote now sustainable businesses. And
Mhm.
so it's like it's literally impossible for a brand to become sustainable overnight, but brands like Shein also like they have literally not talked at all about doing anything, in no way shape or form. They have no transparency whatsoever
So
about paying their
embarrassing.
garment workers more or putting them in better situations or any of that whatsoever. So again, like you said, it's not the 18-year-old girl that's buying from them. Yes, I would prefer her to buy from a thrift store, but it's really the brand that needs to be talking about the efforts that they're going to be making.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's just misdirected anger. And I think you find that a lot in what we do, like with being female content creators or influencers, whatever you want to call it. It's such a stigmatized industry. And I think it's because it's pretty female dominated. And it's one of the first industries where women have a lot of power. They have a lot of control. They're in charge of their time, how much money they're making. And they're making some good fucking money. And
Hell
people
yeah.
are threatened by that. And they're mad. And they go to their 9 to 5 every day and they hate their job. And they come home and they see a girl opening 18 packages and looking happy and they're mad. And I get that they're mad, but it's such misdirected anger. I'm like, you need to turn that inward. You need to turn it upward. Like, look for the people you really want to be mad at. Like, because it's not me. It's not me. I promise it's not me.
I literally, why are we the same person? Because I think in freaking every podcast I ever talk about is I'm like, the social media industry and the influencer slash content creator industry is primarily female run, which is why it's such like a like made fun of, or like, oh, like you're an influencer kind of thing. And
yeah, I'm so happy.
I say it in like every podcast and I'm like, someone else said it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, it just blows my mind. And like, I have 3 older brothers, and even they have been like, watching you do this has like kind of changed my thinking. I'm like, they're like, I see you doing it. Like, I see how much you work. I see how much effort you put into it. They see me on my phone, sending out emails, like working on my content, having the strict schedule of like when I need to do things. And they're like, it's like you have a full-time job for sure. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And it's awesome. I love it. I'm super happy doing what I do. But I do think it's going to take a lot of, which thank God there's plenty, a lot of strong-willed women who are outspoken and willing to be like, no, fuck you. Like, my work is valuable. I get millions of hours of stream time, like millions of hours of time devoted to content that I create, which I'm really bad at numbers. I don't know if millions is realistic or not. But the point is, I get a lot of like, I'm getting a lot of people's time, and time is a currency, like time is money. And so if you really can't recognize the value in that, well, then you're far behind, because every brand out there is recognizing the value in attention economy. And when you can monetize off people's attention, everyone seems to be able to recognize that that's valuable and an asset and a skill, except for the shitty dudes in my comments.
Literally, I cannot. It's like, it's so funny how it's just like so made fun of. Like, I always joke, I'm like, I went from having like a 9 to, well, I have 4 jobs and one of them is a 9 to 5, but I was like, I was like, I literally went from like complaining about like my 9 to 5 to end up having a 24/7 hour job.
Yeah. Turns out I'm always on the clock now. I literally haven't used social media for fun in months. Although I think what I do is fun, but you know what
I love it. But yeah, literally same. I was I was in the Uber yesterday on the way to this freaking party, and I'm answering emails and sending out DMs, and my friend looks over and she goes, "Are you seriously doing work right now?" And I was like, "Girl, I was at the club yesterday writing these emails as well." So yeah.
I was so drunk the other night emailing my manager. She was like, "Hey, this brand wants to work with you." I responded, "Hell yeah."
Literally, I'm like, bro, I'm literally always working. And I'm like, you guys are like, you think that this shit is such a joke, but I'm like, not only are we like, our managers, our like photographers, our stylists, our designers, our like budgeters, are literally our lawyers, we're literally everything combined into like a pretty face over here, baby.
Yeah, and making it look easy and making it look fun. Because if you look stressed out in your content, people don't want to watch you be like, "Ugh." Like, people want to see the fun parts of life, which I feel super lucky, because honestly, every time I see videos where people are like, the bad parts of content creation, and I'm actually going to make a TikTok about this soon because I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm just always like, can't relate. Like, none of it feels bad to me. I love it. It feels super authentic. It feels super fun. It feels like I'm sharing my genuine life and self with like a bunch of friends. So I feel like I have not, at least yet, reached a point where I could ever make a video that's like, here's what you don't know about content creating. Because if I made that now, I'd be like, it's awesome, it's really fun, I'm super motivated. Like,
No,
I don't know,
yeah.
it doesn't feel that bad to me, but I can enjoy it and not be stressed out by it and still recognize that it is a lot of work and that I'm very intentional with it and that I have to be driven and motivated and posting frequently and waking up every day and putting a face of makeup on and putting an outfit on, because I know if I do that, I'm way more likely to make videos all day than if I don't, even when I don't feel like it, or like going and sitting at my sewing machine and making myself finish a project where maybe I wouldn't have finished it if I didn't have to create content of it. But it's just like, it could be a bad thing or it could be a good thing. It's all how you look at it. And I view it as like super empowering because like you said, we work from everywhere, but how cool that we can work from everywhere.
Yeah, literally. And I always think that, I mean, obviously social media has its highs and lows, and you know, the lows are obviously something that like needs to be talked about and that a lot of people experience, but I definitely think that social media is how you like take it. It's like how you perceive it, and it's all about the mindset you have. And like if someone comments some like mean shit just because like they're having a shitty fucking day and they saw that I was the first face on their For You page and they just decided to take it out on me, well, all of those things had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I was the first person they saw on their For You page today and they had a shitty day, and so they decided to take it out on me. And I think that a lot of people just have to remember that it literally has nothing to do with you, and that is obviously such like a hard thing to wrap your head around. And I think that being a social media content creator like makes you like have that mindset, because there is so much hate, especially on like TikTok.
Yeah. People are
Right.
bold. I think you're so right. And I think it's awesome to hear someone else say it because, like, my brother makes music and he was getting some of his first hate comments on SoundCloud the other day. And I told him, I was like, it's so nice when you remember that it has literally jack shit to do with you. Like, whatever they're saying has never mattered and has never had anything to do with the actual content you created. It's fully a reflection of them. And I agree, like, working in this industry, I don't know, I've kind of always had that mindset. So I think that's why I fell into it so naturally. But
Mhm.
it's true, like, I've never met more people with this mindset than in this industry. Because if you're going to sit there and be upset over a hate comment from an account where the only video posted is them feeding their horse, like, you're not cut out for this. It's not going to work out.
Going fishing.
You have to recognize it doesn't matter. And what always helps me is like, I very rarely even see my hate comments because I get way more like really
Mhm.
nice ones, which is super encouraging. But on the off chance I do see one, and on the incredibly off chance it actually lingers in my brain for more than 2 seconds, I just remember I've never been jealous of a person that left me a hate comment. Like,
Mhm.
I've never wanted their life. I've never wanted anything that they have. Like, I've never had someone leave me a hate comment and thought that they were cooler than me. So,
Mhm.
like, clearly, I'm not jealous of you at all. You have nothing to offer me. You have nothing I want. I'm sorry you're mad. That sounds like it sucks for you.
Literally. And I think like I don't know about you, but I personally have never left a hate comment on
Oh,
someone else's profile. And
never.
I'm like, so that's their hate comment. First of all, not only does it help my post because it adds to the algorithm.
Thank you for the boost.
Thanks for the boost, baby. But but it also like it's I can't say it enough. Like it only speaks to their character, because I would never in a million years, if I saw something I didn't like, which very rarely happens, because I'm like, just because something's not my style, like doesn't mean that it's not like beautiful.
Yeah,
And but I would never be like, oh, I fucking hate that.
this
And I'm
is so ugly.
I'm like, user
Okay.
87925 whatever the fuck is just like having a shitty fucking day. And I'm like, because I'm not the type of person that would do that. And so that is what speaks to my character, is that I
Yeah.
would never leave it on someone else's.
It's such a small-minded action. Like, it would never ever occur to me to be like, this is ugly on someone's video, because I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just going to swipe and find something that inspires me. Like,
Yeah.
I think it just goes to like show it just goes to show it's like how you value yourself, because I value my time enough to not want to sit here and make someone else feel bad for no fucking reason.
Yeah. And I think that just like in general, and not even on social media, like in life, if like people are judging you or you're worried about how like other people perceive you, it's like I always like to think that like, I don't know, like half the time they're not saying shit to your face. So while in your mind you're probably thinking like, oh, this is a more out there outfit that maybe like someone's going to talk about, well, they're probably not going to say it to your face. So while you might be thinking someone's judging you, you don't really know. And
Right.
if you're maybe going to school, like obviously you'd like might know people, but if I'm like wearing a crazy outfit just like on my walk to Starbucks today, and I'm like, and I'm probably not going to see any of the people ever again that I'm walking by that are judging my outfit. So like, why do I really care?
No, and I choose to believe that every look I get is a look of like, that's a cool outfit. I choose to believe that
Yes.
they're all positive, because if they are negative, it has nothing to do with me. Like, why is that my business? I don't need to know that. And I don't know how old like the people that follow you and listen to you are, but like if you are in high school, it's worth remembering that any judgment that you're receiving from your peers is definitely a form of jealousy. They're mad that you know how to express yourself. They're mad that you feel comfortable enough with yourself to do that. If a high schooler or a schoolmate is going out of their way to make fun of your outfit, it's because they are so uncomfortable with themselves. And that's pitiful. That's sad, but it should not affect your style at all. Like, wear what you want to fucking wear, because even if people don't like the outfit, they will be inspired by your confidence.
No, definitely. There's this TikToker that once said that like she made a TikTok about how jealousy is basically like if you're jealous of someone, it's because you think that they're doing something that you can't do.
You
And I,
can't.
yeah, and then I was like, but so like if you're jealous of that person, then maybe like figure out what pinpoint maybe what you're jealous about, and then be like, oh, like they're doing this and I want to do that, and that's why I'm feeling jealous of them. And then maybe go do the thing that like you're wanting to do so badly, you
Right.
know? And then
And I
the
think it's
jealousy will ease.
Mhm. And I think it's easy to have this perspective for me, especially as like I'm in my 20s now, I'm out of my high school environment. Like, it can be much more difficult to feel this way when everyone around you is doing the same thing. And like, I was totally a victim of that. I dressed super basic in high school because that's what everyone around me was doing. And I was hormonal and anxious. And the last thing I wanted to do was stand out. And it really took like after high school for me to come into that. Even though I would say I've always been confident and outspoken, it really did take getting out of that environment for me. So that's why I try to encourage people to not wait, because like I wish I had realized how little it mattered, because now I get several DMs frequently from people I went to high school with, like, hey, what you're doing is so cool. It's so cool to see you growing. Like, I'm like really nice, encouraging shit from people I haven't talked to in years. And they probably would have been that way then too. I was just afraid. And I always think there was this girl at my school. She was in my year and she was a baddie. She was like 6 feet tall already. And she would wear like 4-inch stilettos to school.
Queen.
And absolutely the boys would be like, oh my God, like there she is in her shoes. And I was like, she has more confidence in like one finger than you have in your entire body. And I just know like she's gonna go on and do way cooler shit than Nick from the soccer team. Like, it's just, confidence is inspiring and it's cool and it's worth having. And if you want to wear an outfit, just fucking wear an outfit, because at the end of the day, it's clothes.
No.
Unless it's a wedding and you're wearing like an exposing dress.
Yeah.
That, then I have opinions.
No, literally, I had the exact same experience. Like in high school, the last thing, and like you said, like I was definitely as someone that I feel like was like confident and outspoken. Like I always remember my mom being like, yeah, like you're not a follower, like you're super confident for like a high schooler, and that's amazing. And you're like, whatever, like I did a bunch of things in high school that I guess most high schoolers don't do, whatever. And I was like, and I thought that I was so confident back then. And then as I like left high school and like got into my college experience, and I like look back now and I'm like, yeah, like I was a pretty decently confident high schooler, but like nowhere near where I am now. Like I was
Mhm.
wearing, not that Lululemon's bad in any way, shape, or form, but I was only wearing Lululemon because everyone else was wearing
I
Lululemon.
was wearing Southern Tide, girly. I was wearing Vineyard Vines. I was dressing like a whole entire soccer mom. I asked for hunter boots for my birthday.
Yes.
So, like, been there. But yeah, I think it's true. It's like you can feel really confident, and like maybe that's what worked for me at the time. But I had the exact same experience. I got out of that environment and I was like, oh, I hate these clothes.
Mhm.
What do I like to wear?
Yeah,
And
what
then
do
it was
I
really,
like to wear? I think
and
that
yeah,
also like thrifting had a big part in me figuring out like what I genuinely like to wear, because someone also said this to me once. It was like a thrift store has no set style. Like when you walk into Zara, there's only on trend items that everyone else is going to have, and you're only wearing what's currently on trend. But when you walk into a thrift store, you're finding things that you genuinely like and that you
That's so
genuinely
true.
wear. And so it's like your own like you're literally customizing your closet to your style. And I think that literally like thrifting, like yes, I thrifted in high school, but I really, really thrifted in college. It's because I'm a broke college student, but
Self.
but so I was like, so it really helped me find like who I am and what I want to wear, because I wasn't walking into a store that had a set style. I was walking in finding things that I really genuinely enjoyed.
That's so true. I've never thought about it like that, but I literally love that, and I'm fully going to indoctrinate myself into that thinking now. I love it. It's like it's your first chance to just like fully think for yourself in a way that's so new and so cool. And I wouldn't have been able to give it like that exact, I wouldn't have been able to put it that clearly, but that's a great example of how your free thinking like really explodes and you're forced to kind of figure out what do I like. And that's a comment that I get a lot of the time. Like I'll get a lot of people like, how did you find your personal style? And what I realized, I was going through baby pictures to send to my Hinge date the other day, and I found one of me in like a little plaid outfit with like matching shoes, and I had like a little bob, and I was like, okay, I've fully reverted to what I liked as a little girl. Like, I think my style now is so what I loved when I was little, and I think that's so cute. Like it's like I loved it then, and then I lost it for a while, and then I ended up totally coming back to it.
And I feel like that makes so much sense, because I feel like when you're young, like you don't even think about like other people's, like you're so innocent, and like you don't think about other people and what other people think. And then when you grow up a little more, then you start caring about that stuff. And then you grow up a little more again, and then you're like, why do I care about that stuff?
Yes, it's so funny.
It's so like you're reverting back to like the two times in your life where like you truly were just like living for yourself,
Yeah,
like
full
worrying about other
independence,
people.
not caring what other people think. So it's you lose it for a little bit because you get this self-awareness, and like that self-awareness so often leads to insecurity, which is
Mhm.
why I think like if you can put that off for as long as possible for your kids, like just by avoiding embarrassing them and stuff, like you're gonna
Yeah.
have a happier kid. But it's gonna happen at some point. Like everyone experiences insecurity, no doubt. And we all have these like I'm sure everyone has these like horrifying, like, oh, makes your skin crawl memories of times you've been embarrassed. So it's
Yeah.
going to naturally happen and you're going to withdraw a little bit. But then when you do get into those phases of life where you're free from the judgment of those around you and you're just feeling more like yourself, you're totally going to go back to those childlike tendencies when you were like, I don't give a shit. I want to wear my princess clear heels and my brother's shirt.
Literally, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm like, I love it. Oh God, that's so cute. I just love thinking of like how like you reverted back to like what you liked as a little kid. Like I fucking love that.
It's so true too. Like everything I wear now, I'm like, I want it to be poofy. I don't want to show my body. Like I want to be in a big poof of fabric. I want a big bow on my head. I want a million ribbons, and then I want 6-inch platforms. Like that's
I
what
love it. I love it. So back to like upcycling and stuff. What was the first thing that you really remember upcycling?
Oh my God, I remember this vividly. So I got my machine, and at the time I was a nanny, and this was when I was living in Seattle. And so I was nannying overnight. They were going out of town. And I had just gotten my machine. And so I brought it over with me. And after I put the baby down, I was like, okay, like I have my machine. I've never used it. Like I just want to try a stitch. And so she had like this big box of her cleaning rags.
Mhm.
And I loved the woman that I nannied for. She was like such a badass. Like everything she owned was super cool.
Oh
So
my
even
God.
her dirty rags were like nice, 100% like organic cotton.
Oh
And
my
so I
God.
took 2 of them and I made like a dumb little shirt. Like it was so bad, but I was so proud of it. I was like,
Oh,
oh my God, I just made a shirt out
it's
of the
true.
dish towels. And I remember I sent my dad a picture and he was like, hope that's not a full shirt because it was like so cropped and tiny. But then he was like, proud of you. And I was so proud of myself. And like, I just remember being like, holy shit, like I can do anything. I can do anything. If I can make a shirt out of dish towels, it's over. It's over for you bitches. And I knew right then that I loved it.
Oh, I love that. That is so freaking cute. So now, I mean, I watch your TikToks all the time of you upcycling things. Do you ever like sell designs or like sell things that you have upcycled?
So that is pretty much a hard no. Basically, I like first ever had a video go viral in September. So it's like 5 months ago-ish, I think. And while I was there, it was that white dress of mine that went viral. And
I was
that
gonna
was
mention that.
and I loved that. I ate that up. That was so exciting. And so like in the passion of the moment, I was like, okay, I'm going to make a collection of like 10 of these and sell them because people really like them. That'll be so cool. And then I got home and I started like thrifting the supplies, and I just very quickly realized like I love to design and I love to create clothes for me. I do not like to create clothes for other people, because when you're creating something for someone else, like as with any artist, if you're going to give it to someone else, you want it to be perfect.
Mhm.
And I've only been sewing for like same as my content creation a little bit over a year, and I'm completely self-taught. So like I don't know how to properly finish garments. And like don't get me wrong, I have made so much progress and like I could probably do it now, but I don't even like measure the clothes that I make. Like everything I do is very self-drafted, like made, held against my body and pinned and then created. I don't use patterns. So it'd be very hard for me to sell things because it would fit everybody so differently.
Mhm.
And they're going to receive it expecting it to be the kind of quality that one should expect from their garments, but it's simply not going to be, it's not going to appear the way that a store made piece would, because I don't even use a serger, which is like the thing that finishes. I don't know if you
Yeah.
sew the thing that finishes the
Yeah.
seams. So while my pieces are perfect for me and they fit my body perfectly, and I do finish them enough to like hold up, I don't like to spend an hour making a trim perfect. I like to get it on there so I can see it and be excited about how it looks. So it just hasn't led to me being passionate about manufacturing pieces for other people. And at the same time, I do feel that that goes just like ever so slightly against what my message is, because like I'm not trying to create new things for people. I'm creating clothes I love for me and hopefully inspiring you to do the same and
Mhm.
to look at pieces in a new light and to see something when you go thrifting and say, I know how Lily would style this. I can do that too.
Yeah.
Not Lily made this, I'm going to buy it and whatever. But
Yeah.
that said, I have sold like two things because one girl wanted the dress for her wedding and I was like, well, that's super cool. So I just was super direct with her and I was like, this is how I create my pieces. This is a really in-depth video of what the piece looks like. If you think it's good enough, like I will sell it to you, but I need you to understand like I'm a designer, not a manufacturer. She was super on board. She looked beautiful in it. It was perfect. And then I created one other thing for a follower because she had my literal exact measurements.
Mhm.
So I could do it easily. And I probably will never do that again. Or if I do, it'll be like a really rare situation because it's really not my passion to create things for other people. It's way more my passion to inspire people to create their own things and create their own looks and find their own style. But I'm not going to ever say never because I have no idea what's coming and I'm still very new to this.
No, yeah, I completely understand because I really love upcycling, and I've definitely like I've tried like buying fabric and making clothes out of just like fabric, but upcycling is definitely more my style because seams are like already in there and I can just like
Yeah, I love that. I like constructing from scratch is a whole different game. And
yeah,
I've done it. I don't hate it, but it's not like what brings me creative passion. I
yeah,
feel creative when I take something and I make it something new.
yeah. When I like so, but when I would like when I like upcycle things, I'm like, I promise you, like, the seams will not be straight. Like shit will be all over the place, but it will be good enough for me to wear because I'm like proud that I made it and it looks good on me. But if I try selling that shit, y'all are gonna be like,
I
why?
would get canceled. I'm not trying to get canceled over my seam work. Like,
Yeah, they're
no.
like, they would be like, this is the worst. Like, it's like barely hanging on. And I'm like, yeah, but it's barely hanging on, but it works for me. Like, that's why I'm not selling it to you.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Because I still get asked all the time, like, when are you gonna sell this? When are you gonna sell this? I'm like, bestie, never.
No.
Probably never.
So moving on to like more of a traveling thing, because you did mention that you love traveling. And I think I originally followed you because I saw that TikTok of you in the white dress. And I think you were at a fashion week.
Yes, I was in Paris for Paris
Paris.
Fashion Week.
Okay, literally so cool. So have you been to like multiple fashion weeks before, and how has those experiences been?
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love just talking about it. It like makes me feel alive. So I've only been to one. That was
Okay.
my first one ever. And it was like super random. I was already going to Europe
Mm-hmm.
and I was planning to go to Belgium, Paris, and London.
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged my friend Chase, who I mentioned earlier. We like to talk about clothes. And he was like, yeah, let's totally meet up. I'm going to be in Paris for Fashion Week on these days. And I was like, okay, me too. I'm also going to do that. It like hadn't occurred to me. It wasn't like a plan. But then I was like, that sounds cool as shit. And I knew that there's photographers outside of events. So I'm like, pea-sized brain, but it loves attention. I'm like, I'm going to make something and get photographed in it. I don't care what it is. I don't care who photographs me. I want to make an outfit and have it be on like a blog. And
Mm-hmm.
that was just my goal and my intention. And I just set out with like, this is going to happen. And I literally remember just like getting on my flight and I sat next to this cool girl that was moving to Spain. She was like, what are you going to Europe for? And I was like, I'm going to get a picture of a dress and some sort of blog. Like that was, and we like even talked about like, I'm manifesting this. This is what I want. So then to have it be fucking Vogue was just like, okay, fuck yeah. But anyway, it was my first fashion week. I had no idea what to expect and I just loved it. I was with some of my very best friends and like, for the record, have never been invited to a show, have never been into a show. But what I think a lot of people don't realize about Fashion Week is a lot of the hype and the fun is outside of the show. So if you find out where and when the show is happening and just go be out there, you're surrounded by models, photographers, you're surrounded by famous people. Everyone is getting their picture taken. Everyone is dressed so cool. And you just like, if you're anything like me, you just have the biggest fucking smile plastered on your face, but you keep trying to not because you're trying to look really
You're
cool.
like, no, I'm cool. I'm cool.
I'm super casual.
You're like Bella Hadid's over there, but I'm chilling over here.
I'm so comfortable in this environment. But it really was so fun. And like I met so many cool people that I'm still in touch with and like just people who are passionate about fashion the same way I am. So I'm going in like 5 days to London for London Fashion Week. And I'm just really hoping it's the same thing. Like I'm just trying to manifest that it's a good time. I find out where some of the shows are and I meet some cool people. And that's really all I can ask for. And then finish the days in a really cute outfit and go drink a bunch of French wine or get like a proper British dinner and just enjoy being there because I love traveling anyway. So like Fashion Week is just the cream
added,
icing on the cake.
No, I love it. That was like I was like, I'm manifesting like a fashion week this year. I need to go. I've been in the fashion industry for so long. And I'm like, I remember when last New York Fashion Week was happening, everyone on TikTok was posting and they were like, I'm having FOMO. Like, I just wish I was there. Like, it looks like it was so much fun. And I was like, no, I'm not having FOMO because I will be there at the next.
There you go. That's what you got to say.
Will be there. And then now I'm going in like, what, 3 days? I'm like,
so exciting. Oh my God, you're going to love it. It's just like one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. And I'm honestly like a little bit nervous about going back because the first experience was just so insane and so perfect. But I'm trying to not like feed into that. I'm just choosing to believe that it's going to be so fun and so amazing. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be in London with one of my best friends dressed really cute. And that's like, that's enough.
That's all that matters. That's so, so nice. So where all have you traveled?
That is a question, girly. I have been a lot of places. I've been to most of Western Europe a few times. I've been to Japan. I've been to Singapore twice, Indonesia, Morocco, Mexico a bunch, Nicaragua, a little bit of Eastern Europe. I've been to Poland. Yeah, I love the world. I go where my feet take me. And by my feet, I mean cheap flights.
That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I am super lucky. I've always been into travel actually, like forever, like since high school. And so when I turned 18, I took a gap year and went and just traveled for like 6 months, went all over Europe, fell totally in love with it. That was my first time in Europe. I went with a Tinder date. It was really fun. And just, had the time of my life. And then came back home and was working to save up money to keep traveling. And my brother became a pilot in this phase, like after I came back from that trip. And so all of a sudden I had flight benefits starting like 2 years ago-ish. And so then it was just like, okay, it's game time. So I would work like 72-hour weeks. I was living in Denver at the time. I would work like 72-hour weeks, work my absolute ass off, do nothing fun for like 2 weeks, just work, 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 literally nothing fun at all. And then randomly like dip out of the country for the next 2 weeks and spend all the money I just made and like go see Japan or just go on some wild fun trip. And that was just how I lived for like a long time until 2020. And like, those were some of the best years of my life. That was way before I was doing fashion content, but I was always into fashion, always packing my outfits for my trips, always like curating an aesthetic for my trips, which is why I think it felt so natural when I did start making videos. Cause like I'd been doing it for years at that point. Like I've always loved picking out specific looks for when I go to a different country. And like, I've always loved that kind of thing. So I got some good years of practice in before the videos, but yeah, I love to travel. I've been a lot of places.
That's amazing. No, I have always wanted to travel. I mean, I've been a few places, but my main goal is after I graduate college, which I have my associate's degree, but I have a few more years because I want to get my master's and whatever, but I want to do birthright because I'm Jewish and I want to go to Israel.
Oh, yeah.
And then since I'm already over there, I'm like, might as well just go everywhere else over there, you know?
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I'm telling you, that's how I've been lucky enough to see so many places, because it's like, well, shit, it's 4 hours away. I can make that happen. I could be in Switzerland in 2 hours. Let's go. I love Switzerland, by the way. That's like probably my favorite place.
Okay, I'm like, I'll add that to the list.
Yeah, big
I'll
fan.
I'll go. So full circle, to really quickly wrap up the podcast, do you think that traveling the world has kind of helped you maybe have more of a love for like sustainability because it is like helping our planet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say like 1,000%. Traveling the world has shaped how I think and do every single thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel confident putting on crazy outfits because I know that there are cool ass girls in Japan putting on their 6-inch platform Mary Janes and getting on the train every day. And I'm like, if they can do it, so can I.
Yes.
It's affected the way I think about sustainability because I want my kids to see the shit that I've been see. Like, I was just at Glacier National Park, and it's like, you compare pictures now to 60 years ago, it looks like ass. Like, comparatively, like everything is falling apart. Like, truly, the planet is being destroyed. And that breaks my heart. Like, I want my kids to be able to see the stuff I've seen. And if I'm going swimming in Bali and I'm feeling plastic, you can only imagine in 30 years what that's going to be like. And so yeah, it has definitely led to an increased passion for sustainability. And I think that some people might get caught up in like, oh, well, but flying is really unsustainable, because it's true. Airplanes are not great for the planet either. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to remember, like we talked about earlier, we're humans, and it's all about like doing what you fucking can, doing what you are able to do, while also protecting your joy and protecting your passion and prioritizing yourself. And like, if you can find a nice balance where you get to feel really positive about your actions and like you're having a positive influence and you get to enjoy your life at the same time, that's like the best case scenario.
Yes. I love it. I could not have said it better myself. Well, thank you literally so much for coming on today. I had so much fun
pleasure
with you.
I did too.
Where can people find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram at ebc.jpg. And then I am on TikTok at ebcjpg. I'm on Twitter now at ebcjpg, and YouTube is ebcjpg as well.
Amazing. Well, everyone remember to follow Lily on all of her social medias. And while you're at it, you can follow me. My Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube channel are all at Lexy Silverstein. That's LEXY, silver like the color, STEIN. And remember to make the ordinary extraordinary.